Hey guys, what's good? This is your boy, Mr. Paul. We're gonna do this little homework video because the quality of the work that I was getting back was just really bad. Anyway, the name of this topic, if you want to look it up in a textbook or go on YouTube and look it up somewhere else, there, is called a sequence of transformations. The whole goal is we want to take one shape and map it onto another shape. Let's start with number one. So you can see here we have triangle ABC, and we know this is the original. In other words, it's called a pre-image. Because it does not have any of the primes. These primes here it's implying that this moved over here, and then from here it moved to the double primes. All right, so this is a pre-image, image, and even a further image in that one. This is the image of A prime, B prime, C prime. All right, so let's see. So for this one, you can see that everything kind of remained the same. Everything is in the same position. B is on the upper right, A is on the bottom, C is on the left, and the right angle is right there. So it's just a translation. So how are you going to say this translation when you don't have any coordinates? Well, for now, let's just say you could translate triangle ABC until it maps on to A prime, B prime, C prime. So that's sufficient enough. So translate, let's write that down. Translate ABC until it maps onto A prime, B prime, C prime. I should mention something about vectors, but I don't want to confuse anybody with that at this moment. I just want you to get the to see it. All right, we'll talk about vectors later, maybe. And for this one, you could just assume that it's a reflection across the y-axis. We can't exactly tell for sure, but you could see that it's a reflection across some line that goes right in between them, and the y-axis looks like it's right in between them. So that was a translation, and next we go to followed by a reflection across the y-axis. All right, couple things I want to mention though before we move on to the next problem. You should pause it, try to figure out what happened in question number 2, and then unpause it and see what the answer is, right? Because once you see it, you can't unsee it, and there's nothing to challenge yourself with. So I need you to be able to challenge yourself just a little bit and try it. So pause. You should be pausing right now and trying this one, unless if you did this one already in class. All right, so here we have, I'm not going to say A, B, C, D, E, F, even though you can, but they put a little 1, a little 2, and a little 3 in there, which is great because now we could just refer to them as image 1, image 2, and image 3, or figure 1, figure 2, figure 3. So, do you think this got flipped over the y-axis and then moved up a little bit? Or do you think it was just translated straight to this shape? Now, you could tell this by looking at where the letters are. So look where B and C are. It's on the right hand. If it got flipped over the y-axis, the orientation would change, meaning BC would be now on this side, but it's not. It remained on the same side. So it's actually a translation this way. So let's say translate. I don't know if you, oh, my shadow's in the way I see. Translate figure 1 until it maps onto, and notice how I'm using this, it maps onto figure 2. Maybe I could introduce vectors to you in this little video. You could say translate figure 1 along the vector B prime. This way it's like moving along that line. But if that's too confusing to you, don't worry about it. Now, how do you get from here to here? It looks like a rotation because obviously it turned. Once you see a turn, it's definitely a rotation. And now how many degrees and what direction and what's the center? Now, since there's it looks like this is a center, and I'm just going to test it from D prime to D double prime. That looks like a nice 90-degree angle. Let's just check another point to make sure. Let's do A. So A prime to A double prime. That too looks like a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to assume that this is a 90-degree angle, a 90-degree turn clockwise about the origin. Whoops. Okay. Rotate figure 3 90 degrees clockwise about the origin, and that would map figure 2 onto figure 3. All right, let's look at question number 3. Wait, did I go too far? Yeah, this one. Okay, let me move these things. Again, pause, try to figure it out, and we're going to speed it up now a little bit. All right, so this got flipped over here. Let's count it and see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see, when you have coordinate planes, I mean, what am I saying? Once you have the coordinates, once you count, you could actually say exactly what the transformation is. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, it's the same distance away from the x-axis, and you can see that the orientation changed. AB was on the top here, AB is on the bottom now. BC stays on the same side because it's getting flipped this way. All right, so reflect ABCD across. Every time you're going to say reflect, it must be across something. There is such a thing as a point reflection, but we're not going to learn that in this course. Reflect ABCD across the x-axis. Yeah, and that's it. That will map ABCD onto A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. Then followed by, now obviously this was a turn because like it completely turned. So let's see, it looks like it's a 90-degree about the origin. That looks good. Let's do point D. So from D to D double prime, that also looks like a nice 90-degree angle. So we're going to say followed by a 90-degree. This is counterclockwise rotation about what? About the origin. Right? Yeah, there must always be a center of rotation. All right. Let's move on to the next one. Number 4. Okay. So this is so notice for this one there's no prime. So how do you figure out which one is the original, which one is the image, which one is the pre-image, which one is the image? You have to read this little sentence. Which sequence of transformation maps triangle ABC, so this is your original one, onto DEF? And you know A is going to match up with D, B must land on E, C must be mapped onto F. So if A must be mapped onto D, okay. This one is a little tough because it looks like it's a rotation, but it could also be, okay, so I remember this one. We could, let's actually do the reflection and see. You could reflect this across here. So this will be A prime. B is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 spaces away. So this is your B prime. And C is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is your C prime. Okay. So you could flip this there and then flip it there. C, good. A is 2 spaces. It lands on D. B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it lands directly there. And so you could say, so there are 2 answers for this. You could say reflect ABC across the, I wrote three S's there, whatever, across the X axis, and then across the Y axis. And remember what we said, there's once you do a reflection across the X and then across the Y, that is the same thing. So this is one version of the answer. Another version would be rotate ABC 180 degrees in any direction, so you don't have to mention the direction, about the origin. And you could test it out. If this is the center of rotation, A straight to D makes a straight line through the center of rotation. C would make a straight line to F through the center, and B to E would make a straight line as well, straight through the center. So there are two possible answers for this. All right, again, pause, try this one on your own. If not, we're gonna do it together real quick. Okay. So A must go into D. Okay, so, and B must go on to E, and C must go on to F. All right. Okay, so this is, okay, so I see it. It takes a little while to see, but you're going to have to see it a little bit. And there are multiple answers for this. We could slide this way, translate it this way, and we could count how many spaces, and then reflect it across the x-axis. Or we could reflect it across the x-axis first and then translate it. There's a word for this, by the way. It's called a glide reflection. I'm just gonna write that up here, just in case if you're one of those students who want to progress in your just progress in life. Glide reflection. That's basically when you take a translation and a reflection, you put them together. It's a glide reflection. Let's do that. So I know A must land, it's hard to see. A must land right here. And E, okay. So we want to translate this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So translate triangle ABC. How many did I count? 6. 6 units to the right. And let's just count to make sure. So this is 1, 2, 3 spaces away from the x-axis. 1, 2, 3 spaces away from the x-axis. Great. So now we could just reflect it across the x-axis. So translate triangle ABC 6 units to the right, followed by a reflection across the x-axis. All right, let's move on because I don't want this video to be way too long. This one, you could basically slide it across this way, and it will end up something like this. And or you know what would be a better thing to do? I need an eraser though. Okay, slide this so that AE maps onto A double prime, E double prime. So it's you could do it like this. So look at the dark shape instead, right? Forget that first one I drew. So C would be up here, B would be there, D would be there, and this is A and E, and then reflect it across the line that contains line segment AE. So let's write that. Translate. Let's call this figure 1. Figure 2 maybe. Translate figure 1 until AE, and notice I put a little line segment there to represent that this is a line segment. It's a piece of a line. Until AE maps onto A double prime, because they call it double prime, E double prime, then reflect it across the line that contains a double prime, e double prime, and that's it. Again, you should pause. Definitely go try this one on your own. All right, what sequence of transformations? ABC onto DEF. Okay, so I know I need this long side here to match up with that long side, so we could reflect it across the y-axis. If we do that, it would land something like that, and then C would be where F is, which is exactly what we want, and A would be exactly where D is if we slide it down. All right, so this will be your A, this would be your B, and this would be your C. So let's write that down. Reflect ABC across the y-axis, then, or followed by, however you want to say it, then translate down. Again, we have no coordinates, so I can't count it. Translate down until it is mapped onto D, E, F. All right, number 8. Okay, this one you could clearly see. You can move it up. Okay, there were coordinates here, but there was a nice plane here, but it didn't print properly. But it's 2 spaces. So translate this whole oh no, this is the original one. So translate this down 2 spaces, 2 units, and then it is exactly the same distance away from the y-axis. So then reflect it across the y-axis, so that because you want a B to land over there. All right, so let's write that. Translate ABC down 2 units, then reflect it across the y-axis, and that would map both shapes onto each other. All right. Okay, so let's look at this one. Ooh. Okay, this one was a toughie. If I could only find the center of rotation, let's say, I don't know where it is, but we could just take this shape and rotate it until it lands on top of the other one. But that's okay. They want a sequence anyway. So here's one way that I'm thinking about it. Translate triangle ABC such that C would map onto F. Point C would map onto point F. Right? So you'll have imagine this is point C now, and you kind of have this triangle like that, and then you just rotate this until the rest of the shape maps until B maps onto E, because this is B, until B maps onto E and A maps onto D. All right, so kind of freestyle it. Say it however you want to say it, but just try to use the vocabulary, the terminology a little bit properly. Okay, and I'm gonna use the word vector in my explanation for this one. So translate, and you don't have to use the word vector. So translate ABC. So a vector is an arrow. So this is a vector. All right, translate ABC along the vector CF, and this is how you show a vector with a little arrow. Actually, that's a ray. All right, whatever. Along the vector CF. Okay. that should be a period. This will map C onto F. Then rotate it about C until B maps onto E. B maps onto E. And that's it. Automatic. If you're going to rotate this until B maps onto E, then A will automatically map onto onto D, sorry. So you don't have to say that extra step. All right. And if you want to say this the way we've been saying it all along, just say translate triangle ABC until C maps onto F, then rotate triangle ABC about point C or about point F, however, whichever one you want to say, until B, you could say whatever now, until point B maps onto point E, or maybe you want to say until AB maps onto ED, you know, however you want to say it. You just want to let the person know when to stop the rotation. All right, almost done. 3 more questions. This one, okay, so this one you have to like look at the letters, because both shapes are symmetrical, whether you flip it or not. Yeah, I mean, you just have to know the orientation. So let's see, B goes with G. Okay, so you see automatically, you know this has to get flipped over here because B needs to line up with G. Let's just check a few other letters. K must go with L. I with O, obviously, and E. Okay, good. So I would say reflect this across the y-axis. This is 2 units. This is 2 units. So B would land somewhere here. K would land somewhere here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. B would land somewhere there. And then you just shift this up. You translate it up. And let's see how many units you have to translate this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 units up. So let's write that down. Reflect BIKE across the y-axis, then translate up 5 units. Easy. Okay, pause, try this one on your own. All right, so the couple things you could say here. The first thing I'm going to do is move the shape. All right, here's what I'm going to do. So you could say reflected across the y, then reflected across the x. Just keep an eye on where your M is, right? Because you want your M on the bottom there. But I'm going to say rotate this thing 180 degrees. So once you do that, H will still be there. Your M would now be on the bottom here. And your T would be wherever up here or something. So you're going to rotate this 180 degrees and translate up 1 and to the left 1 so that your H prime would land where this H is. So rotate MATH 180 degrees about the origin, then translate it up 1 unit and to the left 1 unit. So remember, rotation 180 is the same as a reflection across the y, then a reflection across the x. So you could have said that and then move it up. And I encourage you to actually draw it and check it out for yourself if you do the reflections, just to see what it looks like. All right, finally, the last question. Yay. All right. So they try to trick you with this one. Um, a lot of people were just saying, move it up a little bit and then reflect it across the x-axis. But look at where your b's are. I need my b on that side. I need my a on that side. So luckily, this thing is going straight through the middle of it. So you want to just flip this around. So I would say reflect this across the y-axis first, right? That would just kind of flip it. And once you do that, then you could translate it up. So reflect across the y-axis, right? Because this is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep, this is going to land right there. And B, once you reflect it over on this side, is going to land right here. Same thing with D and C. It will literally switch the orientation, so it's like that. So reflect across the y-axis. Oh, hold on. I see something else as well. So once you flip it, you have to move it up actually only 2 spaces because you want your shape to come here now, right? So once it's there, you have to you need the short side on the top. So you have to flip it across the x-axis. So this is 3 things happening here. Reflect across the y-axis. Translate up how many units? 2 units. 2 units. Then reflect across the x-axis. So, this is just how I saw it. The way you might see it might be a little bit different. Maybe you might just want to move this whole thing up first, reflect it across AB, this line, which will be the line y equal 2. So move it up how many units, reflect it across that line so they kind of match up, but then reflect it across the y-axis anyway because you'll need to switch the points. Remember, if you have a rotation of y and reflection across the y-axis, reflection across the x-axis, that's the same thing as a rotation. So maybe you might want to just rotate the whole shape 180 degrees, but then that would make it land somewhere up here, and you bring it down a little bit. You bring it down 2 units. All right, so there are multiple answers for this one. All right, guys, I hope this was useful. Catch you for the next one. Peace.